this is something that we can cut, but someone went to go buy a crystal ball, and, like, the shopkeeper was like, make sure you keep it covered whenever you leave the house. And they're like, oh, why? Because of spirits? She's like, no, because if the sun hits it, it will light your house on fire.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
So I finished watching this movie 15 minutes ago.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad. You know what I did 15 minutes ago? Realized I never did any of my dramaturgy.
Oh no! We're doing so good this time around.
We are prepared. But no,
Professionals.
I enjoyed this. It didn't knock it totally out of the park, but after having listened to our edits of Glitter all day, it was nice to be reminded that
Musicals exist.
didn't hate it.
Yeah, this was like a solid 50% for me. Like, I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. Some things were funny, some things I did not like. It was just like a solid middle of the road for me.
Dear listeners, you can't see, but she just held up a fist. Like, neither a thumbs up nor a thumbs down, just a nub.
Fist.
I'm really bad at segues. Welcome to 5678. I am Anna.
I'm Grace.
This is the podcast where we review and recap movie musicals from olden America times in the 30s to modern day. And this week we are diving back to 1949. True and truly, ye old times, ye old English times, with the Bing Crosby musicale, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Yes. I had never seen this.
I didn't know this. What was funny is after watching it, I'm like, this was a stacked cast for the time,
Yeah.
so it's interesting that I've never heard about it.
Because it's
And
purely average. No, I'm sure it was good for the time.
it did okay in the box office.
Anyway, we should go through this before we get into our dramaturgy.
Yeah, I will. I thought you said trauma.
Dramaturgy!
That's just therapy.
Wow,
every
wow.
week.
That is therapy.
Therapy is dramaturgy.
They should rename that.
We start in England in 1912.
Well, we have our opening credits, and surprise, this was originally written by Mark Twain, which I did not know.
A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court is based off of a Mark Twain novel. You did that part of dramaturgy.
I did.
Great.
We're going to talk about it.
But yes, England times,
Yes.
1912. After our long credits, we see a castle.
The Pendragon Castle.
And we see a sign for Pendragon Castle Tours.
Ooh.
And a car pulls up, and Bing Crosby pops out, looking suave for 1912.
Yeah. He comments about the number of turrets, and it never comes up again.
He turns to the guard. Like, does this castle always have 4 turrets? And the butler's like, what?
Do you want to
Yes.
go to the
What?
tour?
Yeah, there's the last tour is starting right now. Get out of here.
Who are you?
So he tags on to the end of the tour.
The tour guide is our waiter. The tour guide is just trying to do his job.
We are 30 seconds into this film and we already have a waiter.
Yep. The tour guide is walking around talking about how this table in the main hall is rumored to be the famous round table of Camelot, etc. And he shows them a portrait of this very fancy lady, Lady Alisande, and the guy who drove up in the car, I'm just gonna say now his name is Hank, because we don't get a name for him for 30 minutes.
I mean, I called him Bing Crosby. We can just call him Bing Crosby.
His name is Hank. You yell at me for not using character names.
I meant until we knew his character name.
Fair enough.
All right, you've introduced it. His name is Hank.
He's distracted by her portrait.
He looks up at her and he's kind of like he's seeing a ghost. And before this, he's made some comments about, he knows a lot about the history as well.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about the Knights of the Round Table, and he
Interrupts this tour guide.
and the tour guide's like, can you not? Who is this American?
I'm doing my job, please.
Hank stops and stares like he's been seeing a ghost at this very, very large portrait of this Lady Alisande,
Yeah.
who has a very prominent.
Chonky necklace.
And the tour guide then leads the rest of the people that are trying to enjoy this tour to a suit of armor that has a very notable dent in the breastplate. The tour guide's like, this dent is from an arrow. And Hank, our rude American's like, nah, it was from a bullet.
This one lady on the tour was just like, that's not possible. Firearms weren't invented at that point.
Yeah, and the tour guide's like, why would you say that? And Hank's like, because I was there. This is crazy behavior.
Insane behavior. Can you imagine a tour at the Met and someone is just like, yes, I remember when I used this sword 5,000 years ago. And you're just like,
I would walk quickly to another exhibit and leave this crazy person. But, like, I would not entertain him.
Now, to be fair, the tour guide then immediately goes to a guard and, like, points out the guy.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as he finishes the tour, he's just like, that guy right there.
That guy, get him out. The tour's over. Everyone leaves. Bing Crosby has remained, which also you can't do.
No.
This was the last tour of the day. You can't just hang out in the museum, you crazy person.
Also, this is apparently a dude's house as well. Get the fuck out.
It's a castle that's also a private residence. But Hank stays behind and, like, stares up at the portrait of Lady Alisande. And he pulls out a necklace from his pocket, and it's the same necklace that this lady is in the portrait is wearing.
Yeah.
And again, if I was a museum security guard, I would see that and being like, did you fucking steal that from us?
The security guard comes and is like, the Lord wants to see you.
Lord Pendragon.
Lord Pendragon. Hank is looking at the portrait and he's like, just as I remember her, and then walks away, and then one guard is left, it's like, but she's been dead for 1,300 years! Cut to a bedchamber.
Yes, Pendragon is an old man sick in bed.
With a cold.
He has a cold. Hank comes into the room and he looks at Lord Pendragon, again, like he has seen a ghost.
Yeah.
But then he kind of, like, pulls his wits about him. He shows Pendragon the amulet necklace, and Pendragon's like, oh, that's a really good replica. And Hank's like, no, it's the real one. The Lady Alisande gave it to me. And Pendragon says, young man, either you're a liar or a lunatic.
Either way, I don't want anything to do with you. But Hank is like, not going to do anything with that. I'm just going to pull up a chair. And it's like, I have a story that I want to tell you that I need to get off my chest.
Lunacy. But this is when we get his name. He introduces himself. He's like, my name is Hank Martin.
Mm-hmm. I'm from Connecticut. And he's a blacksmith until a few years ago when cars became a thing, and then he had to figure out how to be a mechanic, basically.
We
cut to
Connecticut. Hank is at his blacksmithery/mechanics shop. If the trip to England, the Pendragon Castle, was 1912, I'm assuming this is like this is in the past. This is the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
Hank is working on a car in his blacksmith mechanic shop, and all the kids of the town are like, they've never seen a car before. They're like, how does it work? What
makes it run? And one of the kids is like, it's a dragon. There's a small dragon that lives in the car and makes it run. And I'm like, yes, that is absolutely correct.
Honestly, like, I feel like this is just a recurring theme in this podcast. I'm like, I don't know a lot of things. Hang on, let me start that over. I know a lot of things as a person. But one thing I don't know anything about is cars. So if I was a kid,
someone was like, a small dragon.
Yes.
That is exactly how cars work.
Anyway.
Hank comes out. He comes out from underneath the car and starts chatting with the kids. And he thinks that he may have fixed the car, and he tries, but it's still broken. So he gets out his almanac, which has like a lot of stuff in it for mechanics, like how to build a lot of different things, including like lamps and guns, you know.
But it's also like, do you know what the farmer's almanac is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like a combination of that and a mechanics, because there are things in this almanac that aren't about mechanics.
Yeah. It's just like, here's a bunch of information that I found interesting, and I hope you do too.
Yeah, whoever made this almanac has very specific tastes.
Yeah, there's one moment with one of the kids, or he's showing the kids all of the inventions that the book talks about, and this little kid does exactly what my nephew does, where it's like, are we gonna have all of these one day, Hank? Like, at the end of the sentence couldn't quite make it and had to take a big deep breath before right at the end.
ran out of breath.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hank tells them about like what's in the almanac, and the kids dream of like what'll be available to them someday. Like this car is brand new to them, but like maybe someday everyone will have a car. And this takes us into our first song, which is If You Stub Your Toe on the Moon. AKA, dreams are good just for the sake of having dreams, don't give up, etc. And so
But like all of the examples he gives is like this person had a dream, but then they gave up on it and had a normal life instead, and that's fine. And it's like, okay. They're like, here's this woman who wanted to be a singer, but she decided to have children instead, and that's the end of her life. And I was like, okay.
Oh no. Song ends. Someone named Sam comes by because some client of Hank's wants his saddle back.
Or like he had an order and he was supposed to get it to him by noon, and it's almost noon. He's like, yo, that guy's mad at you because it's not there yet. And he's like, oh crap, I gotta go.
Hank saddles up his horse to go deliver these goods. Suddenly, lightning, thunder, a big storm kind of comes out of nowhere. Hank is like riding like the wind, but he gets to this fork in the road, very, very Beauty and the Beast, when the father is riding frantically through the forest and is like, this path is blocked, I must go this way. Does that.
The horse panics. He hits his head on a branch and then falls off the horse and hits his head again and passes out.
Fully knocked out.
Yeah.
He wakes up.
To a lance!
Being poked with a lance or a pike by a knight on a horse who wants to fight.
Now, the face that he has whenever he sees a knight is very funny, because it is, like, it felt very accurate. It's like, if I just, like, got knocked the fuck out and then woke up, and then suddenly there's a dude in full armor, just like,
what? And that's what he does, essentially. He's like, all right, run back to whatever Renaissance fair you came from. Like, go get the fuck out of here. And this knight is like, nay,
foul beast,
monster. And this dude takes Hank hostage, captive.
Yeah, I mean, because at first Hank is gonna, like, walk away, and then the dude throws a knife and, like, stabs the pike at him. And Hank is like, okay, I'll play along. Like, all right, fuck it, sure. Right? Let's just go with it.
This is immersive theater? All right, yes, and. We learn that the knight's name is Sir Sagamore.
Uh-huh.
I would argue that he's not a goon, but he's
the Kronk.
Yeah, he's got big Kronk energy.
So we come up to a castle.
Yeah, he's being walked through these woods at pike point. And Hank's like, this is not Connecticut.
I know, there's a moment where he's like, I didn't know there were castles in Bridgeport. Nope, 'tis Camelot.
Hank's like, what the fuck is happening? He's very calm about it. I would not be this calm.
My next note was, he just accepts this? Ridiculous. Sagamore reveals that the year is 528. And Hank is just like, okay.
This is a dramaturgy question.
Yes.
In 1508, did they know it was 1508?
528?
That's what you said.
Yes.
528. In 528, did they call it 528?
I
don't know. Any historians listening to this podcast?
Holler at us.
And maybe they did.
Maybe they did.
I don't know.
It's 500 years after Jesus, so.
Yeah, I don't know what. And like different civilizations called their years differently.
Yeah.
We have a lot of movie to get through.
Yes.
This is not the thing to get hung up on.
So.
Hank is led inside of Camelot, inside of the castle. He is brought to the Great Hall.
His feet are shackled, by the way.
Yes. It's, the round table. King Arthur is there. King Arthur is super old.
And he's played by the same guy who plays the Lord, which is why whenever Hank saw the Lord in 1918 or whatever it was, he's like, it feels like I've seen you before.
I did not clock that until the end of this film.
Oh no?
Because Pendragon has no beard, and King Arthur has like a full, long, scraggly beard.
That's fair. The king also has a cold in this timeline.
Yes.
Apparently that is something all of his ancestors will always have, is a cold.
Hank is brought. We get a big harp glissando.
Yes, we do.
And we have the introduction of a red-haired lady, the same Lady Alessandra from the painting, appears.
In a very shiny pink gown that is not at all era appropriate.
We can't start pulling at threads now.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, the costumes is something that you just sort of have to let go.
Yeah, I did not even consider looking deeper into that.
I did.
You did good. Oh
I looked into it and I was like, no, everyone wore tunics.
Lady Alessandra appears. She starts to twirl around and sing for the king.
Flounce. This is what happens whenever I wear a long skirt, and I'm just like, look at my long skirt.
Yeah,
Flounce.
it's a lot of twirling. And she sings the song "When Is Sometime," which I don't remember what the point of this song was.
She's looking for love?
Yeah, it's like, I will find
I mean, she's also
my
engaged
love.
at this point, so it's a bit
We
of a
don't
weird
know that.
song.
But yes, and Hank is kind of like off by the wall, being held captive by Sagamore, and Hank's like jaw to the floor. Alessandra's beautiful. It's played by Rhonda Fleming, who is just absolutely stunning.
Stunningly gorgeous. Now, she also sees Bing Crosby. She sees Hank, and she is like taken aback by his blue eyes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he winks at her, and she is very alarmed.
This is a recurring gag. And I don't know if it's a moment of joy or not.
Honestly, it's a bit. I was
like
on and off with it.
Beaten over the head with it to be a moment of joy.
Yeah. So she finishes her song. She twirls away.
Yeah, she twirls away. Sagamore's suit of armor squeaks, so they're kind of noticed by the court.
Okay, wait. So King Arthur liked the song. Then we meet Morgan Le Fay, who comes up and she's like, I also have a song from the lute. And the king says, nothing curdles the stomach like a lute solo. And I did laugh out loud.
I did. I had that next. So, context for our listeners who have not seen this film, Morgan Le Fay and Alicent are the king's nieces. They both look very similar. They both have red hair, but one is the good twin and one is the evil twin. They're not twins. They're just cousins? I don't know.
Good sister, bad sister.
We don't know if they're sisters. I don't know historically if they are. I did not look that up.
I don't know if Alicent is a real is like a part of
I don't know.
myth.
I did bad dramaturgy. I'm sorry.
We did not do dramaturgy. We did traumaturgy. No.
This is not a film that's gonna need traumaturgy.
No, it is historically inaccurate.
Not in the way that I felt compensated for traumaturgy after Glitter.
Anyway.
Sagamore brings Hank before the king, and he says Hank is a dragon monster demon. Sagamore spins this tale of having to fight like 1,000 ogres, and it was like a 6-day battle.
And there was like the one final ogre that then turned into a dragon, and then turned into a werewolf, and then turned into Bing Crosby.
This is my final form, Bing Crosby.
You have not even seen my final form yet.
So stupid. A bunch of the crowd in this court rolls their eyes. Sagamore clearly has a reputation for just being like a dunce and making up these stories.
Hank is like, I was alone asleep under a tree. I don't know what this guy's talking about.
We have a new character introduced. Slimy Mr. Merlin, who is the king's sorcerer. And Merlin kind of like leans into the king's shoulder. He has a very deep voice. He's like, this is a demon and it must be destroyed. And
then Alessandra's like, but he has nice eyes and he's hot. And the king is like, that is true. So Hank introduces himself. He says he's from Connecticut. And Merlin is like, I don't know where that is. Is that in Ireland? And he's like, no, it's way past Ireland. And he's like, fool, there is nothing past Ireland. Caught in your trap.
Again, Hank is not really helping himself out here.
Not helping at all.
Like, all right. You find yourself in 528.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck is going on. The least you could do is try to seem less like an outsider.
An insane person?
Yeah. If you, dear listener, find yourself in a different century, do better than Hank is at blending in.
Be less insane.
Yeah, be less insane. Merlin wins the argument, and it is decreed that Hank is to be burned at the stake the next morning.
Cut to a dungeon cell. He still has his full suit jacket on. He has not removed his suit jacket, and it's still buttoned. So he looks out the window, and he sees them building a pyre, and the townspeople are gathering and gossiping, like, I heard it has 7 heads. Sagamore appears in the jail with, like, roast meat from the kitchen, but Hank is like, I'm not really in the mood for roasted meat.
Sagamore feels guilty, because he got Hank sentenced, but he can't do anything about it now, but then he gets an idea.
Sagamore says that if he can prove himself a greater sorcerer than Merlin, then he might get lenience, since Merlin was the one who said that he should be burned.
Hank gets to work on brainstorming up a miracle. Cut to the pyre, the main space inside the castle where the court has taken up with chairs and they're watching. There's the king, Merlin,
there's a bunch of performers,
Alessandra, and Morgan Le Fay. Hank is brought out.
Hold on, a guy with roast chickens comes up, and the king doesn't take one, but Morgan Le Fay does, and she chows down on this.
I loved it.
Like, full, just like, wild. This actress is like, this is my favorite day of filming.
Hank is brought out in chains. He is tied to the stake at the pyre, and one of the executioner people comes out with a piece of parchment to read the declaration of why Hank is being burned.
His death and crimes.
Up until then, did not know about this. Hank pulls a monocle out of his pocket.
Well, so I think this was the face of his watch, because he pulls out his pocket watch in the jail cell, and the glass covering, I think he just unscrews that, and that's what it is.
Great, that makes a lot more sense than just randomly producing a monocle.
Well, he randomly produces matches in about 5 minutes, so, you know.
True. All right. A round cut of glass of unknown origin is produced from his pocket, and he holds it up kind of next to his head and angles the light so that the sun shines through.
Like a magnifying glass.
Yeah, the glass onto the parchment that this executioner is reading, and oh la la, he sets it on fire.
And everyone panics.
Oh, everyone freaks the fuck out.
Now Merlin is like, I got this, and goes up and just throws some salt on him and is like, there, all of his powers are gone.
Oh, he's so slimy.
So Hank sets Merlin's cape on fire.
Yeah, Hank does the exact same thing to Merlin's cloak. Small gripe, and this is just movies. Definitely takes way longer than that to light both fabric and paper on fire, but you know what, we're not going to think about that right now.
Though, this is something that we can cut, but someone went to go buy a crystal ball, and the shopkeeper was like, make sure you keep it covered whenever you leave the house, and they're like, oh, why, because of spirits? She's like, no, because if the sun hits it, it will light your house on fire.
Yeah. Forget about leaving candles unattended.
Don't leave a crystal ball unattended.
Don't leave your crystal ball unattended.
It will light your house on fire. Anyway,
Merlin sees Hank's monocle / pocket watch, and he's like, this is the bauble that gives you your powers. He takes it from Hank.
No sorcery, it's just a tool.
And Merlin holds it, and he commands it to make fire, and it doesn't work, obviously.
Of course. So the crowd starts laughing at Merlin, and Hank uses this moment to tell the king that I am a wizard and I'm better than Merlin, and so the king agrees to release him. And this is when Hank pulls a match out of his pocket and does the little thumb flicky thing that I could never figure out how to do, and lights the match on fire. He's like, look, this is a normal twig, funk, and then it turns on fire, and everyone's just like, oh!
Yep, again, the crowd freaks the fuck out. And at this point, Hank has approached the king.
Well, he offers another miracle, but the king is like, that's enough, that's enough.
Yeah, the king thinks he's being threatened.
Want? And so Hank asks for a blacksmith shop.
Yeah, he's like, I just kind of want to hang out here for a while, since he doesn't know how he got there. He's like, can I just stay here and not get burned at the stake? And King's like, yes, of course, mighty sorcerer. Morgan Le Fay suggests, well, we have this nice pyre, we should just burn Sir Sagamore instead. The whole crowd's like, yes.
She's so bloodthirsty, it's great. But then Hank is just like, no, I like Sagamore, can he be my squire? And they're like, alright, that's cool. He's like, also I want to get to know some of the people around here, and looks at Alessandra and is like, alright, we'll throw a ball. Yeah. And then he's like, and shouldn't I have a title? And the king's like, yeah, for sure. So he knights him.
And the name that Hank picks for himself is Sir Boss.
I can't.
And so he is knighted as Sir Boss.
And then Alessandra, she's like, I'm happy that you're here, that you weren't burned. And he aggressively winks at her. These winks are just so much.
Cut to later inside the castle. Hank is fully decked out in clothes appropriate for the period, red tunic, red tights, and he and Sagamore go into this ball that's being thrown in Hank's honor. As they walk into the ballroom, Hank's like, all right, who is everyone? Sagamore introduces Merlin, he tells him who Morgan is, and Alessandra. This is when we establish that they're both the king's nieces. Morgan is the heir.
He says that Merlin would make sure that if the king died, Morgan would be queen. Now, with Merlin and Morgan, there is an unnamed goon, who I can't tell what his relationship is to either of them, but he is like their third person
Yeah.
who does a lot of things for them.
Yeah, he has more, not authority.
He's a knight.
He is. Like, he's a real person. He's not just a goon for them.
Right. But we never get his name.
I had to look it up. I know what it is. And you know what? We do hear it. We do hear it later, but it's said so quickly that at that point I knew what his name was, so I was like, ah.
Yeah, I did not look it up.
I just called him Mystery Man for all of my notes.
I honestly didn't talk about him much until I realized that he was a bigger character than I thought at the end, and I was just like, no, damn it, I didn't mention him at all.
I know, anytime Morgan and Merlin appear together, he's always there.
Yeah.
His name is Sir Lodris.
Yes. So,
but we also learn, hang on. We got way off topic, but we also learn that Alessandra is betrothed to a guy who's not here. I don't know if
we know at this point.
No, I don't think we don't know it's Lancelot. Surprise, it's Lancelot.
It will be Lancelot. At this point, Merlin and Morgan and Goon are chatting, and they're like, "Oh, he's the bad guy." And
that being Hank. Yeah.
Merlin tells Morgan, "You should go and dance with him and see what information you can get." And so she goes and asks him to dance, and he's like, "Yeah, anytime," and then just leaves and goes and finds Alessandra.
He winks at her for a third time, and she's like, what are you doing?
Do you have an eye affliction or something?
Yeah, and he's like, oh, it's a token of affection.
Yeah.
And then comes...
Oh, God.
It is partly my favorite and partly my least favorite.
That's how I felt about all moments in this. It's just like, I equally loved this and hated it.
Yeah, no middle ground. He takes Alessandra and takes her over to the musicians. Like, as a movie viewer, I thought it was fun. As a musician, I was furious.
So angry.
He takes Alessandra over to the band. There's like 6 musicians, and he goes one by one to each of the different players who have different instruments. He teaches them new melodies and changes the time signature of the song that they're playing. Ugh. And he's like, play this instead. It's essentially a turkey trot. And it's much more upbeat than the waltzing that was happening.
Not even waltzing. It was just like...
I don't know what to call it.
Group dancing.
Yeah. He then takes Alessandra out onto the floor and teaches her how to turkey trot. And prior to this, everyone was dancing like full arms apart. And this dance is very close. Like, it's cheek to cheek. A lot of body contact.
So, just a little bit of history of couples dancing. For a really long time, especially in this era, there was that amount of distance in between people. It's sort of like what you would think in like Pride and Prejudice and those sorts of dances where, you know, there's that distance, it's group dances. But then around the time that the waltz was invented, that was the first time that people sort of moved in harmony really close to each other's bodies. And it's so funny because they considered the waltz like...
scandalous.
Just like really inappropriate and just like too much. Sort of like how grinding was seen, where it's just like, oh, it's just so inappropriate.
It's so sexual.
Like, it's hyper-sexualized. Yeah. And that's what they thought the waltz was. And so because it was the first time like bodies were touching, and so I can completely understand the group's reaction for people who like you cannot touch, that could risk someone's reputation, and then suddenly he's like pulling her close and they're cheek to cheek and dancing. Yeah, people freak the fuck out.
Yeah, it's definitely too romantic and definitely scandalous. The king sees this and gets mad, understandably, but then looks around and all of the women of the court are watching this and are like forlorn that like they don't get to do that and want to dance like that. So the king's like, all right, fuck it. And he grabs a
random lady.
Yeah, and they start to dance and everyone's like, my cheek and your cheek is touching. Like there's a couple great moments of physical acting of dancers like tentatively touching cheeks and then like jumping back like they've been electrocuted. But ultimately they get over it and everyone has a grand old time.
So Hank leads Alessandra off the floor and away from the ball. Ooh. He tells her that he's not a sorcerer, he's just a guy called Hank.
She keeps trying to call him like sire, and he's like, no. She's like, mighty sorcerer. He's like, no, please, Hank.
Hank is fine, thank you. So she's like, wait, so why are you confiding this to me? And he says, well, you know, you and Sagamore were the only ones that cared if I was burned or not. And then there's just a dumb 40s joke that isn't funny now, where like he calls her pretty and she calls him pretty, and he's 40's brain can't handle that, and he's like, don't call me pretty.
You shouldn't call men pretty. And like this was the first of unfortunately what will be many issues of sexism, and like
earlier whenever he starts to dance with her and she's uncomfortable, he says, relax, you might enjoy it, and I didn't like that.
Yeah. He talks over her the entire movie.
At one point he literally says, stop speaking, I'm speaking, or something like that. It's just like anyway, I wrote them all down because I was angry.
I get that this was 1949, but come on!
Yeah, I know. And he also says that he's going to call her Sandy, and she's like, okay. And he starts to sing the song Once and for Always, and man, his voice. I love a baritone.
His voice is beautiful. His character's morality is questionable.
Yeah.
It's a pretty song if you don't take any of the context into it.
Yeah, remove context and just listen to the voice.
I did not like how he was taking advantage of her 5th century ignorance, where she's like, what does that mean? He is like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it wasn't
Sweet
great.
Cheeks.
Yeah, he called her honey a lot.
Yeah. Then there's a kiss. Oh la la!
Well, she sings back with him, and we also have the first of many times in which there's a lot of eavesdropping in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, during this duet, Morgan and Merlin and Goon sneak up on them and sort of watch them from, like, behind a wall.
They are espied.
They are espied. Hank tells Sandy that he loves her, and then they sing the song as a duet, and it ends with a kiss. Now, she does panic a bit, and he apologizes, and she says, it's my fault too, and then he kisses her again.
It is also revealed when Merlin, Morgan, and Third Man are watching, after Hank and Alessandra walk off, they're like, isn't Alessandra engaged to Lancelot? And someone's like, yeah. And he's like, isn't he super, super jealous? And they're like, yep. They're like, you know what? Let's go tell him.
Go get him. So they do. They find him, and Lancelot is like, I gotta go kill a knave, and then goes back to Camelot. So we cut to the blacksmith's shop.
Hank has fully become a blacksmith. I did not process that request earlier, so when this was happening, I was like, what?
Yeah, it was one of his requests.
Missed that. He's fitting Sagamore for a new suit of armor, because Sagamore's armor sucks.
Yeah, we find out that Sagamore's name is Clarence. Then Alessandra approaches in, what is this called?
Oh, you're in a box that has poles at the bottom,
chariot.
And you're being carried by 4 people. I mean, do you want me to look it up?
Yes, because I called it a covered wagon carried by people, because my brain could not supply the word.
Palanquin.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's also called a litter.
Oh, that's what I know it as. It's a litter.
Here it is. A palanquin is a covered litter. So a litter can have a roof or not.
So the litter is like what I think of in Roman
Cleopatra
times, where it's like someone's leaning on something,
lounging on it.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, she arrives.
Yes. She's come to visit him. Sagamore tries to warn him. He's like, what? She's engaged.
She's engaged.
And Hank's like, yeah. Talk about that later.
Yeah.
Hank leads Alessandra away. Is it Alessandra or Alessand? Is there an R?
Oh, I don't think there's an R. There's an R. I think that's just me.
No, I fully put an R in there as well.
Okay.
We both got our name wrong.
It's just Alessandra because it's Sandy.
Alessand. Away to little bench?
Glen?
Rock thing? They sit in the woods.
Yeah.
And, what did they talk about?
Well, so he has a gift for her, and he has made her a safety pin.
She's like, what is this magical thing?
Good job. And so he takes her handkerchief and shows her how to make is it supposed to be like a diaper or underwear?
I don't know. I thought it was a diaper.
I thought it was too, and it was like supposed to be like referencing they could have kids. I don't know.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a little scandalous, so I think it's supposed to be a diaper. And definitely from the time period that Hank is coming from, that looks like a diaper.
Yes. Then out of nowhere, he pulls out a magnet. How do you make magnets, Hank?
I
looked this up.
How you make magnets?
And a lot of the things were like, oh, you know how you make a magnet? You take a magnet and then you rub some metal on it. That's not helpful, sir. And then there are there's like magnetite, which is naturally magnetic. And so I don't know where he found this, but he shaped it into a very obvious looking magnet.
During all of this showing off, Sagamore is spying on them.
Yeah, again, more spying.
Alessandra once again tells Hank that she is betrothed. He once again talks over her.
He says, let me do the talking.
He asks her if she'd marry him instead.
But also, his offer is so dumb. He's like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, but would you consider throwing away your entire life and tarnishing your reputation and, like, get engaged to me instead?
She's like, what? No. He's like, but do you love Lancelot? And she's like, no.
No.
She also says Lancelot's not going to be back for another month. So Hank's like, all right, we got some time. Leave it to me. Never trust a man that says leave it to me.
No.
She leaves.
Well, they do a big kiss,
Yeah,
which
they-
Sagamore sees.
Once she's back in the Palanquin, she winks at him very badly.
She tries. It's so bad.
And she also has a moment of realize she's like looking at the safety pin with the handkerchief, and she has a moment of like, like what, realizing what it could be. And that's when I was like, is it a diaper?
Is it a diaper? Is it underwear? I don't know. Anyway, Sagamore starts to tell Hank that he's in danger when a lance pierces like a stump near Hank. Uh-oh, 'tis Lancelot.
Lancelot has arrived solely because Lancelot needs a blacksmith because he needs to have his blades sharpened so he can go kill this Hank motherfucker.
Yeah.
Not realizing that this blacksmith is Hank.
Is the sir, because what knight works in a blacksmith shop? He's like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. We get beaten over the head that like Lancelot is super, super strong.
Sagamore keeps trying to warn Hank that this is Lancelot, but he's a big old dummy who can't, like, verbalize, apparently.
Yeah, and also, like, Lancelot's fucking scary. Lancelot is, like, picking up anvils with his bare hands like they're pillows.
It's like, oh my god.
At one point, Hank realizes, because Lancelot's being very vague of who he has to kill, and then he ultimately says, I have to go kill this Sir Boss, and Hank's like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck, that's me. So he tries to talk Lancelot out of killing him. He's like, you know what, this guy might be a good guy. Like, I'm just a neutral third party.
Maybe y'all should just, like, chat it out.
And it's, like, not working, but he's trying his best. Just then, a page arrives with a message. It's from Lady Alisande. So Hank's like, oh, it's probably for this guy, Lancelot. And the page's like, no, it's for Sir Boss. Here, Sir Boss.
Now everyone knows who everyone is.
Yeah.
And the message is, warning,
Lancelot.
Lancelot's coming.
And then Lancelot
Slaps him across the face
and bids him good day.
with his gauntlet, which means that he's thrown the
He has
gauntlet they
thrown the
now have
gauntlet.
to fight. I would also like to point out that Bing Crosby's costume is Peter Pan tights with a Peter Pan hat.
In what way?
They are bright green tights with a Peter Pan hat. I'm like, what is
What
happening?
movie are you in? Hank doesn't quite realize once he's been bitch slapped with a gauntlet, realizes, and then Sagamore has to explain, like, no, you have to now joust with Sir Lancelot tomorrow, and whoever wins gets Alisande.
Yeah. Cut to the next day. The king and Morgan Le Fay are very bloodthirsty. They're like, let's get started so we can see someone's blood. And Morgan's like, no, specifically Sir Boss's blood. And the king's like, anyone's blood is
I'll
fine.
take anyone's blood. Merlin goes to visit Lancelot in his tent. He's like, don't worry, I've cast a spell on Hank. And Lancelot's like, I don't need spells.
And he cuts a mace in half with his sword. Wild.
Meanwhile, Hank is in his tent with Sir Sagamore, and we hear like a warm-up act of jousting, like preliminary jousting is going on, and then we hear the end of it, and a guy that's been fully impaled is brought by on a stretcher, and Hank's like, oh god, and Sagamore's like, that's the winner, because the loser died.
Yeah. So they get him all dressed up in like
In
a full suit of
armor.
honor. And they have to try and hoist him onto a horse. So they tie a rope around his waist and try and yoink him up. But the rope breaks.
Hank naturally panics, but then he gets an idea. And he takes his horse, not the armored horse that he's supposed to be on. He takes a random horse, but that he knows. I don't know how he knows this horse. It has a name. Regardless, Hank goes into the ring without armor on him or his horse. And Lancelot pulls up in his armor with his horse. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And Hank turns
you
to the
insane?
king. And he's like, there's no rule that says I have to wear that, right? And the king's like, no. So the jousting begins.
And Hank is not following the rules of jousting. This was my biggest gripe. I was so angry.
He is so much lighter on his feet because he's not weighed down by armor, and nor is the horse, that he's just able to, like, Lancelot gets into position and runs at him on his horse, and Hank just, like, dips to the side, so Lancelot misses, and everyone in the crowd's like, ah, ha, 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 like, thinks
So
it's
funny.
hilarious that he is, breaking all the rules.
Yeah. So he also has like a length of rope, which he's decided to lasso. So he ends up lassoing the lance and getting it out of Lancelot's hand. And then at one point, Lancelot like pulls out his sword and starts chasing him around with it. And Hank tries to make a sharp turn, but the horse falls on him.
Yeah.
But then he's fine.
Yeah.
Like, a horse falling on your leg wouldn't break it. Anyway, Lancelot tries to stab him, but he misses.
And Hank is ultimately able to lasso Lancelot off of his own horse. And then he, hog ties him and is the winner. And the king, everyone in the court is laughing. Hank is declared the winner, except...
But Hank fell off of his horse first.
Yeah, but I think it's if you die or not.
No, it's supposed to be when you're unhorsed.
Listen, you know more about jousting rules than I do.
They didn't follow the rules.
Grace is so mad right now. The most unhappy face. You look like Alisande. Alisande
she was not pleased.
Is not.
Look at that segue.
Having She's so mad that Hank made a fool out of Lancelot, and she wants him to apologize. Hank's like, "What? No!" And she says he's no gentleman, and storms off. Back at the blacksmith shop, Hank is making a handgun.
He's making a revolver, and he's banging on it while the parts are all together. And where did he get gunpowder?
I don't, and what's worse is that all the village children are there and he's showing the kids.
Yeah, this isn't dangerous.
Yeah, he has made bullets. He shows the kids, and the kids naturally freak the fuck out when he shoots a gun. They've never seen a gun before. All the kids run away. Sagamore comes to visit and delivers the news that Alisande won't see Hank, and she's marrying Lancelot within the week. And Hank doesn't like being told no.
Well, he does say, listen, if she's not into me, then there's no reason for me to stay here. I should just leave. At that point, a girl appears and asks for Hank's help. Apparently, her dad is sick with the plague. Sagamore is like, get the fuck out. And Hank is like, whoa. I'll go look at them and see what I can do.
Just because you're from the future, Hank, doesn't mean you're impervious to the plague.
No. Hank also tells Sagamore, put the gun down or you'll hurt himself. And he's like, ha, how can a small toy? And then we get a sequence of everything not to do with a gun.
Yeah.
Literally every possible thing except for sticking your finger in the fucking muzzle.
Yeah, it made me so anxious. And, the whole bit is that Sagamore's like, this is funny. And he, figures out where the bullets go in.
Points it at his own chest, looks down the barrel, points it at the side of his head. It's insane, and I was so anxious.
It's very anxiety-inducing. And then he's just like, man, fuck this. And he drops it onto the table, and it goes off, and it shoots into a random breastplate and leaves a hole. And Sagamore is so shocked and freaked out that he's like, I could have been me, that he fully faints.
Cut to the girl, leading Hank into her house. Her mother is in mourning. Apparently, the dad has died. The mom tells Hank a little bit about their life. The king had planted fruit trees in their land. Someone cut down the trees, and because they were the king's trees, it was a crime. So her sons went to report the crime, but they were accused, and now they're in jail until they confess.
Yeah, and Hank's like, the king wouldn't allow this. And Mom's like, you're not from around here.
Are
you
truly
don't know
a stranger
anything.
to these lands.
Yeah. I mean, Hank immediately goes to the king and kind of yells at him. Hank's like, when was the last time you spent time with your people? And he's like, I spend time with my people every day. Hank's like, not the court people, the people out working in the fields, the common people. Yeah. And the king's like, no, they love me. And Hank's like, no, they fucking don't.
No, they don't.
He's like, you're wrong. You should find out. Let's take a trip. We'll go disguised as humble freemen, you, me, and Saggy.
We're going to London anyway, so why don't you dress in disguise and we'll all walk to London together, and that way you can sort of see what life is actually like without the presence of the king changing people how they behave. During all of this, Merlin is eavesdropping.
Yeah, Merlin and his random third friend is eavesdropping, overhears this. The king agrees. They say they're going to leave at dawn. Hank leaves the king. He stops in to visit Alisande. He tells her that he's leaving, and she's totally isn't cool about it.
No. And he tells her, you're making the right call in marrying Lancelot. I'm no good at being a knight. I'm not a slayer of dragons. And Lancelot is eavesdropping. So
much eavesdropping. There's nothing else to do in court. It's just eavesdropping.
Truly. And so he says goodbye, and he leaves, and he walks right by Lancelot without seeing him.
She still has the
Alisande cries. She does still have the safety pin.
The next morning, Hank, the king, and Sagamore sneak out. They are all in disguise. They are out of their fancy court clothes. Hank has a wig that matches Sagamore's, which is like the Lord Farquaad wig. And they sneak out of the castle. Why would you... Okay. I understand why they didn't tell anyone where they were going, because, like, naturally someone would have been like, you can't, the king, this is a terrible idea.
No.
The king is old.
Yeah.
Like, this is a bad idea all around.
He's consistently sick.
However, you don't go anywhere without telling anyone, because no one knew where they were going, how long they were going to be gone for. Yeah. Like, they just disappeared. Fools.
Yeah. Dummies.
Oh, and then there is... So we see a very zoomed out King, Hank, and Sagamore walking away from the castle, and then we get the worst green screen that zooms into Morgan, Merlin, and our third party watching them leave, and they're like, all right, we'll lay a trap. It's the worst green screen. Oh my gosh.
I did not notice.
And then we get another song.
Yeah, so we cut to the guys walking along the road singing the song Busy Doing Nothing, which was the most popular song from this movie. Now, they stop by a stream, and the king has a blister because he's never walked this long in his entire life. And apparently, like, the king has seen the oppression, but it hasn't really had an effect on him. He's like, yeah, I mean, life's hard everywhere, so, like,
they've been walking really for a while at this point.
Suddenly, a knight with entourage rides by.
And Sagamore's like, get up, people of quality are coming by. We have to get up because we have to bow as they go by. And the king doesn't. He, like, recognizes one of the guys. He's like, oh, you're going to London, but that's not your wife. Ooh, this is juicy gossip. And the knight sees that the king, who is dressed as a peasant and he's not recognized, does not bow. The knight goes back and he gets in trouble and he is whipped by this knight for not bowing. And then the knight rides off and the king's like, tomorrow, when we get to London, I'm gonna make some changes. This is bullshit that people are treated this way.
Yes. Cut to them sleeping in a barn. Hank wakes up and notices that there are guards and soldiers outside of the barn. We see a little mini scene of the goon, the third party.
His name is Sir Lodris. We're never gonna get
Sir Lodris. So he's there with a bunch of knights and he's there to capture them. And so Hank and Sagamore wake up the king and they try and get him to be quiet and they try and sneak away, but they're super bad at checking their surroundings.
Back at Camelot, a shepherd, delivers the news that the 3 men were captured, who are our heroes, to Alisande. So she knows not only that Hank, Sagamore, and the king have gone, but they've disguised themselves, and now they've been captured. She asks for clothes to disguise herself as a boy and says she will leave tonight.
Why? Why does she need to disguise herself as a boy? Wouldn't she have more power if she showed up as Lady Alisande?
I mean, to be fair, no man has taken her seriously this entire film.
That's very fair. So, cut to a slave auction.
The next day, the king, Hank, and Sagamore are all to be sold as slaves, and, surprise, Merlin is there, and he buys all 3 of them. They are then taken to the slaves' quarters where they stay until they're taken.
Oh, wait, hold up. Alisande
I was just gonna
appears before they're taken
well,
to the
they're
quarters.
walking to the quarters. And Alisande appears in disguise, immediately is recognized.
Not at all convincing.
She arrives, and she tries to talk to Hank, and he's like, you shouldn't have come. And then she's kind of captured with the 3 men and taken to, like, for no reason, is taken to the dungeon with them.
Now, the next scene, they're inside the slaves' quarters.
It's a
Merlin
dungeon.
and his third comes in. He's like, I'm here to help, so my king wants to see what his people will live like. Well, then now you get to live as a slave to understand what your people will
Merlin's
like.
fully going to leave them here, let them live the rest of their lives in slavery.
At like a mine or something that they're going to be sent to tomorrow.
It's nighttime. They all fall asleep in the dungeon.
Yep.
Hank and Alisande are like leaning on each other. Cuddling, and I don't remember which one of them says. I think it's Alisande that says like, oh, well, whatever happens, we're together. You're in a dungeon.
He's like, you should have stayed in Camelot where you're safe. And she's like, but I would not be content. I'm like, you're a big old dummy.
And then we get a reprise of Once and For Always. Gripe, there are people sleeping in this dungeon. You selfish idiots.
All these other slaves are just like, can you not?
What the fuck?
Cut to a very convenient escape. So while they were singing, apparently Sagamore was doing the right thing and was rubbing his chains against a rock and broke free, and so he gets them all free. They go to the gate, and Sagamore straight up kills the guard, like strangles him.
Love an old-fashioned, but it's like such a good old-fashioned movie strangling where it's like barely any pressure is applied, and then the guy's just like, ugh.
And they're just like, dead. The guard drops his keys just out of reach.
But conveniently, Hank has his magnet, handy-dandy magnet with him, and he sticks his arm through the bars to reach for the keys. Just then another guard sees, but he just sees the keys, like, skittering along the floor, fully freaks out, thinks it's magic, turns to run, and report him, fully whacks himself into a wall and passes out. So, our four are able to escape. But Alicent has a strong sense that she won't see Hank again, so she gives him her amulet.
Now's not the time, Alicent.
But you know what's also not the time for? Sneezing. The king sneezes, and they all get caught, except for Sagamore. Hank, Alicent, and the king are all caught. Sagamore is able to escape and, like, runs through the woods.
He throws a guy. It's really good.
Just
so then the goon...
Cut to Merlin's bedroom.
Yeah, where there is a lady that we never see in bed. There's another body.
I could not tell.
Yeah, it was like, because as they panned right at the end, as it faded into the next thing, I was like, I see a body!
Sir Lodris tells Merlin that Sagamore not only escaped, but he killed a guard. And so Merlin orders Sagamore to be caught and to remind the king of a law that he signed, which is that, like, if one member of a house commits murder, then the other...
all the male slaves.
Yes, all the male slaves of that house should be killed. Which means Hank and the king are to be executed the next day.
And he's like, but Alicent, send her to my house.
Yeah, send her to my house. The next morning, Hank and the king are in line of, like, lots of people to be executed.
Yeah, bunch of people being killed. Anyway.
Hank has his almanac with him.
Almanac?
And he's looking, he's like, what's today's date? He looks it up and he realizes, he's like, oh yeah, there's going to be an eclipse at noon today for 4 minutes. And it could be a very well-timed miracle.
So he gets to the front of the line and he, like, waves off the executioner.
He's
like, hold on, I have something to say. And this other guy is like, what is this? Die in humility. It's like, oh, that's a sentence. So Hank says, I am Sir Boss and this is the king, and unless you release us, I will blot out the sun.
And everyone's like, that's not the fucking king. Hank's like, I warned you. And he looks up at the sun.
And he says the magic words.
He says so many magic words, which is just bullshit.
Walla Walla, Washington. Punxsutawney,
like
Pennsylvania.
Schenectady.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. New York, New Haven, and Connecticut, leaving on track 3. I did that.
Just nonsense to these poor 6th century people. But it is a very well-timed eclipse, and the sun is blotted out, and everyone loses their goddamn minds. They freak the fuck out.
Yeah, I would too.
They're like, save us, sorcerer, bring back the sun.
So they call for him to be released, and so he's like, all right, ollie ollie oxen free, and then the sun comes back.
And Hank and the king are freed.
Yeah.
Hank immediately hops on a horse for Camelot to save Alicent, who is in Merlin's tower. He leaves the king in London.
He's like, you're fine now, right? You got this? You got this. I gotta go.
He runs into Sagamore on the way, who he had asked to grab his pistol. He takes the pistol.
Yeah.
Sagamore continues on to London to go get the king.
Yeah.
And Hank goes to Merlin's tower.
Merlin sees Hank approaching on the horse. And he tells
Sir Logris
Logrin to lower the drawbridge and put Alicent in plain view. And so as he rides in, the gate shuts behind him, so now he's trapped.
Yes.
And he goes to free Alicent, who's, like, tied up with chains to a
in, like,
pole.
the middle of the courtyard, and Sir Logris is hiding behind a corner with an axe, and there's a bunch of dogs. Just then, Hank is trying to free Alicent. Sir Logris comes around the corner on his horse, tries to hit Hank with the axe.
He hits him in the head with an axe, but don't worry, he's fine.
He does, like,
'tis a flesh wound.
Slump over, and he's definitely disoriented and definitely concussed. But Sir Logris turns around and bears down on Hank again, but Hank shoots Sir Logris. And then he succumbs to his faint.
He passes out, and Sandy's crying, don't leave me. Because she's still tied up. Like, she's super fucked at this point. Because Merlin's gonna come down and be like, everyone's dead, but I still got you.
And Hank wakes up in Connecticut.
Yeah, cut back to modern day. Hank is finishing his story to Lord Pendragon. He was like, yeah, when I came to, I was in Connecticut, and I didn't see Sandy again, so I hope she's okay.
Definitely not okay. And Pendragon's just, like, amazed by this story. And he's like, you know what? Go down to the East Parapet. Go see my niece, who's always there around this time of day. Like, go see my hot niece. And Pendragon then watches from the window. Hank goes down to this parapet to go say hi to this hot niece, and it's the same actress that played Alicent.
Yep.
This niece's name is Sandy. Because of course it is.
And she's like, how did you know my name? And so he sits down to tell her. Now, this ending, she winks at him, and then he's shocked, and then winks back at her. And then he, like, weirdly crosses his leg and, like, looks back up at the room to make sure no one's watching. Does this movie end on a boner joke?
Maybe? I didn't catch that.
It looked like those old-time movies where it's like a guy's into it and he's like, oh, gotta cross my legs.
Oh, I did not pick up
so
on
no
that.
one sees this.
I thought he was getting comfortable because she was like, how do you know my name? He was like, it's a long story. And then he was like settling in.
Okay, it was mostly just because he like weirdly looked back up at the thing and like, I hope no one saw this.
Oh, I missed that.
Anyway, maybe it's not, maybe that wasn't it, and maybe my brain is just dumb, but man, I was like, does this goddamn movie end on a boner joke?
And that's how this movie ends. Wild.
Yeah.
Grace, what'd you think of this movie?
Just that fist right in the middle. No thumbs up, no thumbs down.
Like,
just...
I genuinely laughed at a couple things.
Yeah, and then I was genuinely angry at a lot of things, and...
I felt very mediocre about it.
It felt very dated, and it didn't age well at all. Yeah. So, fully 50-50. I'm at 50% on this movie. 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say like 5.5 out of 10. I mean, Bing Crosby's a great singer. It's not enough to save this movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some dramaturgy?
Yes.
This was directed by William Taylor, who went by Tay Garnett. He was an American film director and writer. He went to MIT and he served as a naval aviator in World War I.
Wow.
He entered the film industry as a writer, then moved to be a director of shorts, then moved on to features, and he worked for every studio. Universal, 20th Century Fox, MGM, Paramount. Like, this dude did a lot. He worked, and like, we love to see it. The cinematographer, oh my god, the cinematographer was Ray Renahan. He is a motion picture cinematographer, like a legend. He's one of only 6 cinematographers to have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He won 2 Academy Awards for color cinematography. Both were collaborations. One was for Blood and Sand in 1942, and one was Gone with the Wind in 1940.
Wow!
Very, very acclaimed cinematographer.
Yeah. So, as we said, this was based on the book, Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, which was published in 1889 by Mark Twain. So I'm just going to give a little backstory on that. So we all know Mark Twain mostly for, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Twain was fascinated with science and scientific inquiry. Now, he wrote the book as a burlesque of romantic notions of chivalry after being inspired by a dream in which he was a knight, severely inconvenienced by the weight and cumbersome nature of his armor. That was his dream that caused this entire book. It's often cited as a formative example of the time travel genre. And the plot of the book is a lot more intense.
Really?
Everyone dies.
Oh,
he dies at the end from getting an infection. He and Sandy have a kid together. The kid dies as a child.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so that's the book and how that came to be. The screenplay was written by Edmond Belloin. It depends on whether or not you're French.
I mean, I for no reason I've been going oh la la during this. So let's make him French.
Was an American writer of radio, film, and television. Wrote films like All in a Night's Work, Visit to a Small Planet, Connecticut Yankee, Road to Rio, My Favorite Spy, and then he won awards for G.I. Blues, which was another musical. So the film's soundtrack was composed by Jimmy Van Heusen with lyrics by Johnny Burke. The orchestral score was written by longtime Paramount staff composer Victor Young. Now, for actors, I really just focused on Bing Crosby.
Okay.
Because he was the big name. So his original name is Harry Lillis Crosby Jr. Don't know where Bing comes from. But he was an American singer and actor. He was the first multimedia star and was one of the most popular and influential musical artists of the 20th century worldwide. He made over 70 feature films and recorded more than 1,600 songs. He was noted as the person who had done the most for the morale of overseas servicemen during World War II, And in 1948, American polls declared him the most admired man alive, ahead of Jackie Robinson and the Pope. He won the Academy Award for his performance in Going My Way and was nominated for its sequel, becoming the first of 6 actors to be nominated twice for playing the same character, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
He is one of 33 people to have 3 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the categories of motion pictures, radio, and audio recording.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. In addition to his work with early audio tape recording, he helped finance the development of videotape, brought television stations, bred racehorses, and co-owned the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team, during which time they won 2 World Series.
That's amazing.
Yeah. A little bit about his singing style. So he was one of the first singers to exploit the intimacy of the microphone rather than use the deep, loud vaudeville style. During the early portion of his solo career, his emotional, often pleading style of crooning was very popular, but one of his managers, Jack Kapp, talked him into dropping many of his jazzier mannerisms in favor of a clearer vocal style. And Crosby ended up crediting Kapp for choosing his hit songs and helped him diversify his repertoire into several different styles and genres. This is a quote from Tommy Dorsey. "I used to tell Sinatra over and over, there's only one singer you ought to listen to, and his name is Crosby. All that matters to him is the words, and that's the only thing that ought to for you too."
I love that. I don't have anything for awards. As for reception, you were right in your feelings about this film. It has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Reviews praised Crosby's performance but had mixed assessments about the other aspects of the film. The Washington Post wrote that the idea was so promising that it's a shame the picture collapses. The early half of the picture accepts Bing's particular brand of easy charm, but the social welfare work among the downtrodden peasantry hardly fits my idea of a cheerful musical comedy.
So they were like, oh, all that commentary about feudalism? No. Cut that shit out.
Not for me. Sang it?
Sang it.
It's Bing. Like, I don't know what else. It's Bing. Rhonda Fleming has a beautiful voice.
It's obviously different, but this is how I felt about Howard Keel, where, like, I hated the character, but, like, the singing voice was so remarkably lovely. And Rhonda Fleming was great as well. I thought she had a really lovely soprano. I wish it was a little bit stronger, but I think that was just sort of a thing of the time.
I think that was the time, and also, like, she didn't get much opportunity to sing
She didn't get a lot.
Yeah, she worked with what she had.
But I thought she had a very lovely voice as well, and I thought that their work together really worked well. I thought their voices complemented each other well.
As for dancing, there's not much dancing. Alison twirls.
There's some footwork in
in Busy Doing Nothing.
Yeah, that one.
It is a musical though, which I am pleased. Yes. Gripes. Any particular gripes?
Those are not the rules of jousting.
Yeah, very, very valid gripe.
This is going to be my homework, too. I'm going to post the rules of jousting.
I had a couple gripes. Like, the format of the beginning of this film really confused me.
Yeah.
I did not like it. Once we, like, got to Ye Olde England times and then came back, I was fine. But I was very confused. Yeah. Like, literally, the first 10 minutes I was sitting there and I was like, did I accidentally skip to, like, halfway through this movie? Am I watching the wrong thing? And secondly, I wanted more of the villains, which is a weird, like, I liked Morgan Le Fay.
Merlin as a villain is a fun concept because he's not normally the villain.
Yeah.
Like, it's normally Morgan and Mordred in that.
Yeah. I wanted more, just for, like, variety.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I realized that under my moment of joy, I just put 2 more gripes. Which is that whenever she was dressed as a boy, it was in no way convincing, and then also sexism. Moment of joy. Let's see.
You know what was joyous? What made me laugh was as much as I hated the technicality of, like, you can't teach a band that song in 2 seconds, seeing everyone getting into the dancing, that was silly and fun and just what I needed.
Yeah, I would say her winking at him and desperately failing
What's funny is
was a moment of joy.
I wonder, I almost considered that to be my moment of joy, but I was like, I think Grace isn't gonna like the winking. I think she's gonna think it was too stupid, so I didn't make that.
I didn't like. See, I didn't like the winking, like, from him, but I found her desperately trying to figure out how to respond to it. Do you have any fun facts?
I do, I have one. So, it was hoped that the song If You Stub Your Toe on the Moon would be as big of a hit as Swingin' on a Star, which had been Bing's previous hit, but it never caught on, and it was not put out onto records because it makes no goddamn sense. That song makes absolutely no sense.
Yep. I have two. So Hank was called a lot of things in his trip. The more popular ones, he was called Sire 29 times, Monster 20 times, Sir Boss 19 times, Sorcerer 13 times, Malord 9 times, Demon 7 times, Beast 6 times, Dragon 4 times, and a Werewolf 3 times. Only Sandy calls him Hank, and she does so 14 times. The other one is a bit of historicalness.
Yeah, sure.
Mark Twain got his idea for Hank Martin to use the eclipse for his benefit from a reported story of Christopher Columbus. So he reportedly used an eclipse knowingly to perhaps alter history. So he was stranded in Jamaica in 1503 on his 4th voyage, and he was sort of wearing out his welcome with the natives. Sounds
familiar.
On brand for him. And he knew that a lunar eclipse was coming, so he predicted the moon's disappearance. And then the natives begged him to bring it back, and then, of course, he, quote-unquote, did in due time. Now, that's how this plot point got into this. Now, in the movie, the date is June 21st, 1523. However, NASA and other listings of solar eclipses show that there were no solar eclipses on that date.
So the almanac lied.
It lied.
That's so funny. Do you have any homework? You said you have homework. I have homework. Aren't you proud of me?
I'm so proud of you. I'm going to post the rules of jousting.
Great. I want our listeners to... We only talked about Bing Crosby. Rhonda Fleming had a phenomenal career. She was a leading lady across from, like, Ronald Reagan. Yeah, she's great. And if we don't get to her anytime soon, I want the homework to be to look her up.
Oh, yeah. Those redheads from Seattle, American musical film. So we'll get to her again, and I will do her.
Excellent. That brings us to the end of this episode. This was A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court from 1949.
Yeah. Please go ahead and give us a follow and subscribe if you do not already. We are available everywhere podcasts are found.
You can follow us on social media at 5678, a movie musical podcast. Follow us there for dramaturgical facts about current episodes and sneak peeks of upcoming episodes.
You can also email us. What was the thing that we said that we wanted people to email us?
Oh, dear listeners, we can see the statistics of which episodes are listened to, and we love to see it. What we are most baffled by is, of all the films that we've covered, quite a number of people have been listening to our episode on Babes in Toyland, which, of the films we have covered, was not the one we expected to be popular. So we're just wondering why. Love to see it. Love to see it. Very appreciative of it, but just generally curious of, like, what is the interest?
It's now tied for number 2 in our most downloaded episodes.
And we just want to know where this interest is coming from.
Please tell us. Anyway.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening.
Congrats.
If you feel so inclined, throw us a review, throw us some stars on whatever podcast streaming service you are listening to, and we hope to see you on the next episode. This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. I have been Anna.
I am still Grace, and that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8. There's no business like show business, like no business I know.